Let's hope it doesn't come to divorce.
That's my offer. It's up to him if he wants to take it. I just don't understand why you speak as if Gladys doesn't know her own mind.
There's no reason to marry me unless the man's in love.
That sounds like a man who is smitten to me.
I know when you set your mind on a thing, no one can stop you.
But what if success and money do not bring happiness?
Everything Bertha Russell has built is about to collapse. The golden empire she fought for, the power she clawed from New York's elite, the love she thought was hers forever. It's all slipping through her fingers. The Gilded Age. Season 4 doesn't open with elegance or triumph. It opens with betrayal. For the first time, Bertha is no longer the woman controlling the whispers. She's the one they're whispering about. And the question haunting every ballroom, every polished corridor of high society is the same. How far will Bertha fall before she finally breaks? The season begins not with celebration, but with silence. The Russell mansion, once filled with the hum of ambition and the glow of success, feels colder than ever. George moves through the halls like a ghost, distant, calculating, unreachable. The man who once stood beside Bertha in every victory now looks at her like a stranger. Every conversation between them feels like a negotiation, every glance like a memory of what used to be. Bertha, of course, hides the pain behind diamonds and perfect posture, but even she knows appearances can't save her this time. The air between them is heavy with unspoken resentment, the kind that can only come from love turned sour. Whispers begin to spread across New York, rumors of a fracture in the Russell marriage. Some say George's near-death experience changed him. Others say he's simply grown tired of his wife's endless hunger for power. But Bertha knows better. She feels the distance like a knife. She senses his mind wandering, his heart too. Because in George's life there's someone new, a woman who entered quietly, almost invisibly, through the chaos of his investigation into the shooting. Someone calm, intelligent, and far too comfortable in his presence. She isn't just another socialite desperate for status. She's something Bertha can never be again, a mystery. And that makes her dangerous. At first, Bertha tries to ignore it. She throws herself into her world of galas and gossip, desperate to prove she's still in control. But New York's high society is a cruel beast. The same people who once cheered for her triumphs now sense weakness, and they circle like vultures. Every polite smile hides a question. Every handshake conceals pity. Her name, once a symbol of prestige, now drips with curiosity and judgment. And still, Bertha refuses to bend. She believes she can win back her husband's heart the same way she conquered New York, with charm, grace, and strategy. But love, she'll soon learn, is not a battlefield she can control. Behind the polished walls of their mansion, George wrestles with his own demons. The shooting left more than a scar. It left a shadow. He no longer trusts the world he built or the people in it. Every ally feels like a suspect. Every deal, a trap. And in that paranoia, the new woman becomes his escape. Someone who listens without judgment, who reminds him of the man he was before the empire consumed him. It's innocent at first. But innocence in the Gilded Age never lasts. Bertha feels it, the same way a storm feels the shift in the wind before it breaks. She can't prove anything, not yet, but she knows something is changing. And that's what terrifies her most. In one of the season's most powerful threads, Bertha begins to unravel in private. The woman who once stood taller than every rival starts to question herself. Her reflection becomes her enemy. The face that once represented power now mirrors fear. Her social events grow more desperate, her speeches more forced. She tries to remind the world who she is, but the world has already moved on to fresher faces, younger names, new families eager to claim the throne she fought for. And in the cruelest twist of fate, Bertha realizes that the higher you climb in New York, the faster they cheer when you fall. Still, she refuses to surrender. That's not who Bertha Russell is. Beneath the pearls and the pain, she begins to plot. Not for love, but for survival. If George has found comfort elsewhere, she will find power where it still matters: influence. She starts aligning herself with new social circles, whispering in ears that once belonged to her rivals. But every move she makes feels heavier, colder. This isn't ambition anymore. It's desperation disguised as strategy. And as the rumors of George's friendship grow stronger, Bertha's control starts to crumble. The gossip columns turn cruel, painting her as cold, distant, unfeeling. A woman who traded love for luxury. The very image she once crafted to perfection becomes the weapon used against her. Meanwhile, George's public appearances become less frequent at her side and more frequent with his mysterious new confidant. New York notices, and the whispers turn into headlines. Bertha Russell's empire is no longer golden. It's cracking, piece by piece. The woman who once ruled every room she entered now finds herself alone in the crowd. Her voice trembles where it once commanded. Her confidence fades where it once inspired fear. And as she stares across the ballroom at her husband, standing beside another woman, Bertha finally realizes the cruel truth. Power can make people admire you, but it can never make them love you. And for the first time, Bertha Russell feels what she's inflicted on others for years: humiliation. But this is only the beginning of her downfall. Because in Season 4 of The Gilded Age, the true war isn't between families or fortunes. It's between love and pride. And Bertha Russell is about to lose both. As Season 4 unfolds, Bertha Russell's downfall doesn't come with an explosion. It comes with silence. The kind of silence that creeps through marble halls and crystal chandeliers, whispering her failures back at her. Her dinners, once the center of New York's high society, are no longer attended by the people who once begged for her invitations. The elite now find excuses: a sudden illness, an urgent trip, a quiet avoidance that speaks louder than words. Bertha can feel the shift. Her name no longer commands fear or admiration. It commands pity. And in her world, pity is poison. Behind her elegant smile, Bertha begins to unravel. Every reflection in the mirror becomes a stranger's face. The woman staring back at her is still draped in diamonds, still perfect in posture, but the light in her eyes is fading. She's fighting a war she no longer understands, a war not against others, but against time itself. Society is moving forward without her. The paper's now filled with stories of younger socialites, fresher scandals, and new power players who don't even mention her name. Bertha Russell, the queen of ambition, is becoming irrelevant, and that terrifies her more than losing George ever could. But deep down, she still believes she can win him back, not through love, but through legacy. She convinces herself that if she restores their public image, George will remember what they built together. She begins planning a grand event, a ball meant to remind the world who she is. Every flower, every candle, every note of the orchestra becomes a desperate attempt to resurrect the empire she's losing. Yet behind the grandeur, there's a quiet sadness, because even as she rehearses her perfect smile, she knows George might not show. George, meanwhile, is slipping further away. His focus is fixed on his investigation, his mind clouded with suspicion and regret. The woman who's entered his life, calm, intelligent, dangerous, becomes his confidant in ways Bertha never was. She listens without trying to control, she speaks without needing to impress, and slowly she becomes his escape from the chaos. He tells himself it's nothing more than friendship, but late-night conversations turn into lingering moments, and lingering moments turn into temptation. The world believes George Russell is a man of iron discipline, but even iron bends under enough pressure. And this season, that pressure comes from both love and betrayal. As rumors of George's connection with the mysterious woman begin to spread, Bertha's anger turns into obsession. She starts sending her staff to collect information, to watch, to listen. But the more she digs, the less control she finds. It's as if the entire city is conspiring to remind her of her downfall. Whispers follow her everywhere, at the opera, at luncheons, even in her own home. She overhears her servants gossiping in hushed tones, their loyalty fading just like everyone else's. And that's when it hits her. She's losing not just her husband, but the respect of everyone she's ever tried to impress. The cracks in her family begin to show too. Her daughter Gladys, now a mother herself, grows distant. She no longer seeks her mother's approval, no longer tolerates being used as a symbol of perfection. Gladys's defiance cuts deeper than any public scandal could. For Bertha, family was always just another weapon in her social arsenal. But now, that weapon is turning against her. Every disagreement feels like an echo of her own mistakes, every tear from her daughter a reminder of the love she sacrificed for status. By mid-season, Bertha's desperation takes a darker turn. She begins manipulating alliances behind the scenes, aligning herself with people she once despised, anyone who might help her regain control. She uses charity events, newspaper connections, and subtle whispers to paint George as the distant husband, the man too obsessed with business to notice his wife's devotion. It's a calculated move, one meant to win sympathy and restore her public image, but New York has already chosen its next favorite, and for the first time, Bertha's influence no longer bends the narrative. The city she once ruled has learned to live without her. In one haunting sequence of her story arc, Bertha attends an event hosted by a former ally, a woman she helped rise to prominence years ago. Bertha expects respect. Instead, she's met with politeness so sharp it cuts. Her name is whispered with mock admiration, her presence tolerated but not celebrated. And when she spots George across the room, laughing, genuinely laughing, with his new confidant, something inside her breaks. It's not just jealousy, it's recognition. The world has moved on, and she is standing still. That night, when she returns home, Bertha doesn't cry. She doesn't scream. She simply sits in front of the mirror, staring at herself until dawn. She's not mourning George's love. She's mourning the woman she used to be. The one who believed she could control everything with enough charm, enough money, enough willpower. But even she has to face the truth now. Some things can't be conquered. Not people, not hearts, not time. The woman who stood at the center of New York's glittering empire has been stripped bare, humiliated, abandoned, and forced to face the one thing she spent her life outrunning: vulnerability. The ball meant to restore her glory instead exposes her loneliness to the entire city. The headlines mock her fall from grace. Her rivals whisper that she's finished. But beneath that silence, a storm begins to build, not of sorrow, but of fury. Because if there's one thing Bertha Russell cannot tolerate, it's being forgotten. She begins her quiet revenge not with rage, but with calculation. Every smile becomes a weapon, every compliment a trap. She starts meeting with people at odd hours, the kind of people who thrive in the shadows of society, the ones who know how to manipulate reputations and destroy them just as easily. Bertha realizes that if she can't control the narrative with grace, she'll control it with fear. Slowly, she starts to rebuild her web, piece by piece, contact by contact. Former allies who once abandoned her begin to feel her pull again, not out of loyalty, but out of fear of what she might expose. And while society continues to gossip about her fall, Bertha begins laying the groundwork for her return. Meanwhile, George is caught in his own downward spiral. His new companion, the woman who once offered comfort and calm, begins revealing her true nature. Her charm turns sharp, her curiosity invasive. She asks too many questions about his business, his rivals, his shooting. At first, George dismisses it, but soon he realizes he's being played. The very person he trusted most may have been involved in the attempt on his life. The moment of realization shatters him. The comfort he found in her presence turns into suspicion and fear, and when he finally confronts her, she doesn't deny it. She smiles. She tells him she never had to deceive him because he was already willing to betray himself. The line cuts deep, leaving George more lost than ever. When Bertha learns about this confrontation, when she finally understands the depth of George's mistake, something inside her shifts. She no longer sees him as the man who betrayed her. She sees him as the man who needs her. But the love that once fueled her ambition is gone. What replaces it is colder, sharper, the desire for control. She won't fight for George's affection anymore. She'll fight for his dependency. If he's broken, she'll make sure he breaks on her terms. In public, Bertha begins to regain her confidence. She makes her appearances again, quieter now, more measured, but no less powerful. Her rivals, believing she's defeated, lower their guard. And that's when she strikes. Subtle moves at first, a whispered rumor here, a financial favor there, alliances that seem harmless until it's too late. One by one, the people who humiliated her start to feel the sting of her revenge. A scandal ruins a rival's marriage. A business deal collapses overnight. A socialite's secret becomes tomorrow's headline. None of it points directly to Bertha, but everyone in New York knows. Somehow, she's behind it all. And yet, revenge doesn't bring her peace. The emptiness remains. Her mansion is still quiet. Her family still fractured. Gladys visits rarely now, and when she does, her words are polite but distant. George tries to rebuild what's left of their marriage, but Bertha no longer believes in its meaning. She plays the part of the devoted wife in public, but behind closed doors, she's already thinking 3 moves ahead. Because if love couldn't hold their empire together, strategy will. The most haunting scenes of the season come not from shouting matches or confrontations, but from silence. Bertha and George at opposite ends of a long dining table, the clinking of silverware echoing between them like a ghost of their former life. Their eyes meet, and for a moment, there's something human there. Regret, perhaps even forgiveness. But it fades as quickly as it appears. Both know what they've become. 2 survivors of the same war, living in ruins they built together. Still, Bertha's power begins to rise again. Her reputation, though tainted, transforms into something more dangerous. Fascination. The same society that mocked her now can't stop watching her. They whisper about her resilience, her cunning, her ability to turn tragedy into triumph. She becomes a symbol of ruthless survival, and in New York, that's almost as powerful as love. But inside, she's hollow. Every victory tastes like ash. Every headline celebrating her return feels like a lie. As the season moves toward its final act, Bertha receives a letter, one that changes everything. The contents are unknown at first, but her expression says it all. Shock, then fury, then something colder than either. The letter reveals the truth behind George's shooting. It wasn't a business rival. It wasn't an enemy. It was someone from within their inner circle, someone Bertha trusted, someone who wanted to destroy them both. The revelation doesn't just threaten to expose their secrets, it threatens to end the Russell legacy entirely. And just like that, the stage is set for the most explosive end to the Gilded Age yet. Bertha is no longer just a socialite fighting for status. She's a woman reborn through betrayal, a strategist fueled by heartbreak. The war for power isn't over. It's only changing shape. And this time, Bertha Russell isn't fighting to belong in New York's elite. She's fighting to burn it down, the final act of the Gilded Age. Season 4 erupts like a storm Bertha herself summoned. The letter revealing the truth behind George's shooting becomes the spark that reignites everything. Rage, betrayal, and vengeance. It turns out the person behind the attack wasn't a rival from business or politics, it was someone inside their own world. Someone Bertha had trusted for years. A friend, an ally, a familiar face at every dinner and ball. The betrayal isn't just shocking, it's personal. For Bertha, it's the confirmation that loyalty in this world is nothing but a performance, and she's done applauding. With this revelation, she moves like a ghost through New York society, calm, cold, and impossibly composed. But behind that stillness is fire. Every smile she gives now carries meaning, every conversation a layer of strategy. She's no longer playing the game, she's rewriting it. The same people who whispered about her fall now start to wonder if they've underestimated her again. Her silence becomes power. Her humiliation becomes a weapon. And when the time is right, Bertha begins to strike, one calculated move at a time. George, shaken by the betrayal and haunted by his own mistakes, tries to rebuild what's left of their marriage. He approaches Bertha, not as a husband seeking forgiveness, but as a man realizing how deeply he needs her. But Bertha isn't the same woman who once begged for his affection. She listens to him, her face unreadable, her words soft but cutting. "You taught me something, George," she says. "Love is fragile. Power isn't." In that moment, the balance between them shifts forever. George, who once controlled the world of steel and money, finally understands what it means to lose control, not of his fortune, but of the one person who could match him. While the city remains blind to the storm brewing behind the Russell gates, Bertha begins her quiet retribution. The socialite who betrayed her? Exposed in the papers within days, her secrets splashed across every gossip column. The journalist who once mocked Bertha's fall from grace? His career ruined by a scandal he didn't even see coming. One by one, Bertha eliminates every enemy, not through violence, but through humiliation. The same weapon they used against her. Only now, it's sharper, deadlier. But victory doesn't taste the way it used to. Every triumph feels hollow, every smile forced. Even as she reclaims her power, Bertha can feel the emptiness growing. The life she fought for has become a prison of her own making. Every glance, every gesture, every word another act in a play she can't escape. And when she stands alone in her ballroom, surrounded by chandeliers and silence, the truth finally hits her. She's won the world, but lost her soul. In the season's final moments, the camera lingers on the Russell mansion, the symbol of everything she sacrificed for. George stands by the window, looking out at the city that no longer feels like his. Bertha stands behind him, radiant yet distant, her reflection flickering in the glass beside his.